Welcome everyone to our class mini presentation of our lesson for Friday, September the 3rd. And because it's a short class, I'll be teaching you a skill today rather than several things. We'll just focus on one. So today's topic will be how to write good introductions. To illustrate introductions, I want you to access an article in your Unit 1 resources. It's written by Paul Roberts. It's an essay entitled How to Say Nothing in 500 Words. So I just think the title itself kind of alludes to what you're going to be reading about. He creates a scenario of students who have nothing to say on topics and writes what they would say with nothing to say. And it's about football. So one of the things I like about it is he tells you what not to do and then shifts into what to do. So I'm going to follow that same strategy as we talk about introductions once you've gotten through with that essay. So what works? I think you all would already know that a good introduction functions the same way as a good first impression, that you don't get a chance to go back and restate something again if your body of your paper is amazing or the conclusion is well written. Doubtfully anyone would get to it if the introduction is trash. So you want to learn some techniques about writing introductions effectively. So an introduction serves three purposes. And by the way, if you are not with us, we are taking notes in your academic notes today for this lesson. So record some of the key things that you are learning about introductions in your notes so that you can refer to them later on when you start writing various papers in this class and others. So an introduction serves as a way to get readers' attention, to focus your topic and establish a purpose for your reader, and then allows your reader to identify some sort of a tone or primary audience of the essay that you are writing. So a quick formula to think about with introductions is to realize that people don't like to read things that they already know. So if you think of a good introduction is both new information with an idea that not everyone may agree with, then it builds natural interest for your reader. So to illustrate that, I picked a topic that would be like a traditional assignment you would get in some class. And this one would relate to more of a literature class, whether it's in 11th or 12th grade at high school or at a beginning literature class in college, and would assume that you have finished reading the autobiography, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. And so the prompt is right here where it says, drawing on the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, discuss the relationship between education and slavery in 19th century America. And there are three things to consider. So you can see, just even if you don't look at the bullet points, in order to pull this off, you have to have some sort of knowledge of Douglass and his life and connect it to the context of the time period of 19th century America. So with that in mind, let me tell you what not to do. And these are what I want you to record in your academic notes. 5 things. So we will discuss each one in detail. You write them down as we go through it. The placeholder introduction, avoid those. This is where you let us know that you don't have much to say about the topic. Speakers do that occasionally, like telling us that they started the night before or just anything that turns a reader off. The next one is to take the question from the prompt and just restate it. Say the same thing that was already stated in the question. And so it's just regurgitating information. The third one is to use a dictionary to define a term. Those are so boring to read. The next one is the dawn of man, where you act like you have solved the world's problems. Everything relates back to world peace type of an introduction. And the last one is writing it like a book report, where you start off and tell us about Frederick Douglass's life. So you can look at the examples with each of these more closely than I have done just discussing them in this 15-minute short video of our lesson. So those are what not to do. So with the negation process, then let's talk about what you can do. So here are 5 options that make good leads for upcoming essays. So the first one is an intriguing example. So something in the reading that stands out, that can connect with everything later on that your reader would not necessarily know about. So read the example here. The next one is asking not just a question, but a provocative question that forces the reader to pause and reflect and think about ways that they could answer that question. The third one is creating a puzzling scenario. So stop and read this example. The fourth one is to create some sort of vivid, unexpected story that relates to your ultimate topic. Look at that one. And then finally, a thought-provoking question. So I didn't cover them, but each of the slides will cover those examples more in detail. But make sure that you get the list of things that you can do versus what you should not do. So we're going to practice in class. There are 3 short exercises that we have. So the first one is to look at what other writers do to begin their introduction. So if you will click on in the teacher's notes or in the resources in Canvas, there's a document here that takes you to some sample introductions. In class, we're doing a group activity about which one they like most and why. So on your own, do the same thing. The second activity is to pull out some of the exercises you've written so far for this class and look at the way you start things and decide which one is best and which ones would you like to redo because they just don't work for the purpose of the assignment. And then the third exercise that we're doing is actually going back to the observation essays that you've been reading for this upcoming essay that you will write. And pay attention to the way each of these professional authors begin his or her essay. And in class, we will actually pause and read some and decide why we like each of them. So with that idea in mind, what I want you to do by Wednesday of next week is be ready. Select your place for observation. Go there, take notes, take notes on everything because you don't know when you can weave some of those details into your actual essay that you write. Figure out an angle for your essay and then write the first paragraph. So when you come back, the next day I will see you will be Wednesday. I want you ready to write a draft, but I want the first paragraph written based on some strategies that I taught you today in this lesson. So that's our lesson for Friday. Thank you.